Have you ever heard of a single mistake that cost hundreds of billions of dollars? From a failed Hollywood blockbuster to a corporate merger so disastrous it nearly wiped out an entire industry, these errors prove that even the smallest missteps can have catastrophic consequences. If you want to know how these blunders happened, and just how much they cost, just keep watching. Number 10. The world watched in horror as the unsinkable Titanic vanished beneath the Atlantic on April 15, 1912. Built with the latest technology of its time, the luxurious ocean liner struck an iceberg on its maiden voyage, dooming over 1,500 passengers and crew. A fatal mix of overconfidence, inadequate lifeboats, and ignored iceberg warnings sealed its fate in history's most infamous maritime disaster. The financial loss was staggering, with the ship originally valued at $7.5 million, equivalent to approximately $200 million today when adjusted for inflation. Beyond monetary damage, the tragedy reshaped maritime laws, leading to improved safety regulations and lifeboat requirements. More than a century later, the Titanic remains a haunting reminder of human ambition colliding with nature's unforgiving force. Number 9. Few Hollywood flops have burned through cash as spectacularly as John Carter, Disney's 2012 attempt at launching a sci-fi blockbuster. Based on Edgar Rice Burroughs' classic novel, the film had all the makings of a hit: an epic story, a massive budget, and state-of-the-art special effects. However, poor marketing, an uninspired title, and lackluster audience reception turned it into one of the biggest box office disasters of all time. The movie lost Disney an estimated $200 million in 2012, which amounts to about $260 million today when adjusted for inflation. Its failure was so catastrophic that it contributed to the resignation of Walt Disney Studios' chairman and derailed any hopes for a sequel. Despite its financial ruin, the film has since gained a cult following, proving that sometimes a flop can still find an audience, just decades too late. Number 8. Even the smartest minds at NASA can make expensive mistakes, as proven by the Mars Climate Orbiter disaster of 1999. This ambitious mission was designed to study the Martian climate, but a seemingly minor calculation error led to its destruction. One engineering team used metric units, while another used imperial, causing the spacecraft to enter Mars's atmosphere at the wrong angle and burn up. The loss amounted to $327 million at the time, which equals approximately $527 million today. It was an embarrassing blunder for NASA, highlighting the dangers of simple miscommunication and high-stakes space exploration. Though devastating, the mistake ultimately led to improved protocols, ensuring that future missions wouldn't be lost over something as basic as mismatched measurements. Number 7. A single line of faulty code can be the difference between success and financial disaster, as Knight Capital learned the hard way in 2012. The trading firm deployed a software update that contained an error, causing its algorithm to buy and sell stocks at random, flooding the market with unintended trades. In just 45 minutes, the glitch had cost the company an astonishing $440 million, equivalent to about $583 million today when adjusted for inflation. The error was so severe that it wiped out nearly all of Knight Capital's assets, forcing the firm into a desperate buyout to avoid total collapse. It remains one of the most expensive software bugs in history, demonstrating how even the smallest mistake can bring down an entire company. While financial markets have since implemented safeguards to prevent such catastrophic failures, this incident serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of unchecked automation. Number 6. What should have been a smartphone powerhouse turned into a corporate nightmare for Samsung in 2016. The highly anticipated Galaxy Note 7 was released to critical acclaim, boasting cutting-edge design and top-tier features. But reports soon surfaced of devices catching fire due to overheating batteries, and Samsung scrambled to recall millions of phones. The fiasco ultimately cost the company $5.3 billion at the time, which translates to roughly $6.5 billion today when adjusted for inflation. In addition to financial losses, the scandal severely damaged Samsung's reputation, forcing it to overhaul its battery safety protocols. Although the company rebounded with later models, the Note 7 disaster remains one of the most infamous product recalls in history. Number 5. January 28, 1986 was supposed to be a triumphant day for space exploration, but instead it became a national tragedy. The Challenger space shuttle, carrying 7 astronauts, including Kristen McAuliffe, a teacher selected for the mission, disintegrated just 73 seconds after liftoff. A fatal flaw in the O-ring seals of its solid rocket boosters, exacerbated by cold weather, led to the catastrophic explosion. The disaster resulted in a direct loss of $3.2 billion at the time, amounting to around $7.2 billion today when adjusted for inflation. More devastating than the financial cost was the profound emotional impact, as millions of people, many of them schoolchildren, watched the explosion unfold live on television. The failure prompted major reforms at NASA, ensuring that future space missions would prioritize safety over launch schedules. Number 4. On April 20th, 2010, what started as a routine drilling operation in the Gulf of Mexico turned into one of the worst environmental disasters in history. The Deepwater Horizon oil rig, operated by BP, suffered a catastrophic blowout, causing an explosion that killed 11 workers and unleashed an unstoppable flow of crude oil into the ocean. For 87 days, millions of barrels of oil spewed into the Gulf, devastating marine ecosystems and local economies. Cleanup efforts, legal penalties, and settlements cost BP approximately $65 billion at the time, which is around $89.5 billion today when adjusted for inflation. Beyond the financial toll, the disaster exposed major flaws in corporate safety culture, leading to stricter regulations for offshore drilling. More than a decade later, the effects of the spill still linger, serving as a grim reminder of the price of negligence. Number 3. What began as a natural disaster in Japan quickly spiraled into one of the most costly technological failures the world has ever seen. On March 11, 2011, a massive 9.1 magnitude earthquake triggered a towering tsunami that struck the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, knocking out its cooling systems. Without power to regulate temperatures, 3 reactors melted down, releasing radioactive material into the air and water. The crisis forced the evacuation of over 150,000 people, and the Japanese government has since spent around $187 billion on cleanup and decontamination, equivalent to about $217 billion today when adjusted for inflation. The long-term consequences extend beyond finances, as large areas remain uninhabitable, and the country's energy policies have shifted drastically. While Japan continues to grapple with the fallout, Fukushima stands as a stark lesson in the catastrophic risks of nuclear power when safety measures fail. Number 2. Corporate history is littered with bad business decisions, but few were as disastrous as the AOL-Time Warner merger in 2000. At the height of the dot-com boom, America Online and media giant Time Warner combined in a deal valued at $165 billion, with hopes of revolutionizing digital media. However, cultural clashes, overestimated synergies, and the bursting of the dot-com bubble turned the merger into an unmitigated disaster. Within a few years, AOL's once dominant internet business had collapsed, and the company's value had plummeted, leading to a staggering $200 billion loss, about $287 billion today when adjusted for inflation. The deal became a cautionary tale of corporate overreach, showing that even the biggest names in business can fall victim to hype. By 2009, the companies had split, leaving behind one of the most expensive failed mergers in history. If you enjoy our content and would like to help us out, please like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. And now, number 1, a single safety test gone wrong in 1986 led to one of the most devastating industrial disasters the world has ever seen. The Chernobyl nuclear reactor in Soviet Ukraine exploded due to a fatal design flaw and human error, releasing massive amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. The immediate aftermath saw the deaths of workers, the forced evacuation of 350,000 residents, and the creation of a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone. Cleanup efforts, medical costs, environmental damage, and lost productivity have amounted to an estimated $700 billion or more when adjusted for inflation, making it the costliest man-made disaster in history. Beyond financial ruin, Chernobyl's legacy reshaped global attitudes towards nuclear power, leading to increased regulations and public skepticism. Decades later, the ruins of the reactor remain sealed under a massive steel sarcophagus, a chilling monument to the dangers of cutting corners with nuclear safety. What a riveting list! If you'd like to keep watching, check out one of these interesting videos.